Hi, good morning, friends. We will today see how to implement agentic applications using A2A protocol. We will first begin understanding what is an agent in first place. So, any artificial intelligence agent or AI agents, we will say, typically defined as an intelligent entity which has got a knowledge, it has got goals, it has got capabilities, and it should be learning from its experiences and observations. So, an agent is not a simple function. If you are doing a simple business function like calling a multiplication of two numbers or something, or a factorial or something, it is not an agent in the spirit of understanding. What is an agent? When you say a business agent, it should have all these properties. So, agent should be having atomic knowledge. So basically, whatever skills it possesses, it should be having knowledge to perform that skill or understand the outcomes of that skills. It should have certain goals. So that means it needs to perform a specific business function, and it should have some capabilities, specific capabilities which are configured to perform those capabilities and understand the outcomes of its operation. So that is a typical agent. Now, when you are using that particular agent, this agent may have long term memory or a short term memory, and it should be able to learn from its experiences that happen over time with various kind of inputs. So, for example, it receives a mixed model PDF or something that has got images and all. It should be able to find out what exactly it needs to do with those kind of inputs. Either it will process or it will learn to process new methodology, or it will say, okay, this kind of inputs, I just parsed it. I saw this kind of things. Sorry, it is not my job. Or I don't have that skill to do this particular job. So it should be able to tell that. So that is what is an agent. So if you are looking at agents like a extended functionalities which are capable of pulling in LLMs, sorry, they are not going to be agents. Please don't call them as agents. So let's quickly go into our topic of the day. Basically, A2A agent protocol and deploying the agents, how they are supposed to work using A2A protocol. Google defines this client agent should have the capabilities to discover other agents, which are business agents or specific functionality agents or specialized agents to get its work done. So to do this, agents needs to talk to each other to do the business transactions and get the business workflow or the business outcomes fulfilled. Okay, so that is what agentic AI is all about. So in this process, e- each of the agent, the agent needs to talk to each other. Okay, so unless they talk to each other, transact with them, and do subatomic things, so subatomic achievements or goals or capabilities, you will not be able to get the business outcome. Okay. So Google has defined a A2A protocol to define how the agents will talk to each other, how do they negotiate, how do they collaborate, and how these are advertised or discovered. So that is called A2A protocol. In this video, we will go into depths and understand how Google wants the agents to interwork each other to achieve your business requirements. So we will see them in detail. Google has defined four stages of agent intercommunication. First stage is a discovery. Second, it is called negotiation. Third is task and state management. Fourth is the collaboration. Now, these are the four phases wherein which one agent, we'll call it a client agent, interacts with the specialist agents or a business agents to understand, to discover where they are, then to negotiate the capabilities of each other, and then assign a task or do a multi-turn discussion or a task, execute a task, or know what is the status of a task, and get a business transaction done. So go ahead and understand how the discovery phase is defined. So discovery phase usually follows the proper process of well-known hosts. Okay. So in the well-known host, what it does is we all know well-known hosts. It is all again defined by the RFC. Okay. So what we do is in any of the domain which we are hosting our agents. Okay. So you learned what is agent take and how to you build the agent, and you built the agent. Now you have to deploy it somewhere. Okay. When you deploy it, is it a software? Is it a protocol? Is it a endpoint? We will have to know, isn't it? So to do that, Google has defined a decent way to put the agent card, just like a business card. You have, everybody has a business card kind of a things. So every agent also will have a card which is called a business agent card. That is a JSON structure, and that JSON structure is supposed to be in your domain dot well known hyphen hosts and JSON. So the moment you see, so your agent will be discoverable by any other agents in the world. So if your domain is accessible internally to an enterprise, or your domain is accessible across the world, so if anybody looking up at dot well known slash, and there are agents there, that means this domain will support AI agents, and there are already agents that are supposed to be working with us. So anybody who knows and understand A2A client protocol will be able to talk to, authenticate if they have the proper authentication credentials, and interact and interwork with the agent in the well-known host. This is one way of discovering the hosts. The second thing is, okay, there are a suite of well-known hosts or agents, but this suite is available and you have to publish it, isn't it? So if at all you need to do that, that is where your catalog discovery will come. So the catalog discovery is a way to add additional agents to your known agents list. Say, okay, for the agents, go ahead and look in this particular place. Wherever the agent cards are discussed or defined, you can work with those particular agents. Those are called catalog agents. The third and the direct way is to directly go ahead and configure where are your agents. These are your agents. These are your endpoints. Now take these endpoints as this. This is like a static discovery. So mandatory agents which are important to work and which are statically, which are working as a group or as a team to achieve a business task, are usually configured using this direct configuration mechanism, agent card that is exposed by the agent.json. So if you see here, the first line is protocol version, which is the A2A protocol version. Typically is 0.2.9, which I am using. And then you will see what is the name of the agent and followed by the description. And then where is your URL defined. After that, immediately comes the preferred transport. Here it is JSON RPC. There are three or four different transport, which is transport types, which are defined. We will see it in the further slides why this is important. Okay, and then it will tell you who has provided this particular agent, and then followed by what is the icon. So you can put your own icons. Then it will also point out to what is the documentation. So what are the tasks, what to do, how to use these agents, etc. These are specified in the documentation. So if you are defining an agent, you are supposed to be having all these ready. Okay. And then you also define what are the capabilities. There are three major capabilities. One, it is streaming. Basically, whether the agent is supposed to stream the outputs or the artifacts or the intermediary steps of the execution or not. Okay. Then will agent is push the notifications of any intermediary steps or the action complete notifications or a failure notification. So, and then you will also say, do you also publish to the state transition history? Okay. So these are the capabilities. So why is this state transition history used? Because, for example, you take a courier package. Okay. Courier package is coming from destination A to B. So if you are saying I will also include the state transition history, so that means you are going to notify the client agent or the calling agent every time there is a change in the state of your courier package. It got bagged, it got picked up, it got sent. All these you are basically subscribing it to it. Then followed by the security schemes. Okay, you will say what is the security, how to authenticate with it, and how do you talk to each other. Then there is a default input modes and there is a default output modes followed by the skills. We will talk about the skills entity in the next slide. Okay, let's come to the agent negotiation. So we have understood what is the discovery. So the discovery is done. Now, uh, the client agent knows where the destination agent or the specialist agent is there. Now, there is a need that is required to ensure whether the client agent can actually talk to the uh, specialist agent. Can they talk to each other? Do they talk on the same language? Or what are the shortcomings on the client side and the destination side? To ensure these both are there and to ensure the communication to start between them, both of them are supposed to know what are the capabilities, what are the skills, what are the transport protocols, what are the payloads, and what are the methodologies. So, to know this, the agent negotiation phase is required. So, during the negotiation phase, first they will talk about the capabilities. So, what do you want to do? What are your capabilities? We saw briefly capabilities on the previous slide. Then it will talk about transport protocols. The majorly supported protocols are JSON RPC, gRPC, and the HTTP JSON. So, if you don't know what is JSON RPC or gRPC or HTTP JSON, okay, you can read the internet. But usually, HTTP JSON is known by many of the developers, so that should not be an issue. So, JSON RPC and gRPC, maybe some of the developers may not have used in their projects, but they are also good transport protocols for quick response with either side. So, there are three types of protocols which are supported by A2A protocol, and the other transport protocols are also supported. Okay, but this example only shows the three options. Then you can actually see what are the agent interfaces which are around. Okay, and you can also go ahead and understand what are the skills which are required in the negotiation. So the in the negotiation phase, basically, after you discover the client agent or a specialist agent discovered by the client agent, it will basically try to establish a common ground to talk to each other. Many protocols does this. You know, your HTTPS does this. Basically, there is a cipher negotiation in HTTPS. You take a SIP phone call. There is a media negotiation. This is a very industry standard practice, which you do a negotiation with your counterpart so as to start talking on the same language. So this is called the negotiation phase with the. Let us see here. If you are trying to negotiate the protocols or the transport protocols, you go ahead and specify. But if you have a preferred protocol, you should specify it outside. What is a preferred transport mode? And then you have to go ahead and specify what are your input modes. So that means how do you want to take your payload? How do you want the message to be packaged? And you also have to specify what you will output with. Okay, so it can be a applications dot JSON, it can be application dot text, or it can be text or HTML. You can return a HTML as well. You can return a image with a PNG, image slash SVG, image slash JPG, sometimes video slash H324, video slash MP4. Sometimes you can also go ahead and say, I will also give application slash PDF. So basically, you specify what is the transport, you specify what is the inputs and outputs, followed by what are your skill sets. Okay, so one agent may have multiple skill sets. Okay, so it can basically have what is the skill ID, and then what is the skill name, what you can do, what are the tags, so that the agent discovery can actually pick for those tags and actually invoke you. So if for example you are making a bot that will open a or an agent that is going to open certain endpoint and do a browser simulation. So you will have to specify in the skills, browser simulation is my skill. Okay, you have to do that. Yeah. Let us suppose you said browser simulation is my skill. So basically, what you are going to do, you are going to accept a URL, and after that, you are going to open a new browser and navigate to that particular URL, and then click, 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 do certain things, capture a screenshot, and then make it into a PNG and go back and upload it back. So let us suppose this is your skill set. Okay, you specify what are the skill set and say tags browser blah blah blah, and then you can also say the agent is a QA testing agent. So it can say my skill is to test. I can automate a browser activity, or I can automate a Excel sheet activity, or I can basically compare two Excel sheets and tell you what is the difference. So these kind of skill sets, if you are making an agent, your agent can be anything. Your agent can have multiple skills. So you register each of the skill set there in the skill agent, so that the client agent understands what is the agent skill, and it can invoke using its own messages. So basically, now what we have done in the entire agent transaction, we have discovered the agents, and then we have negotiated the components. What is the transport, what are the skill sets, and what are the capabilities. Now we have an understanding of the agent which we have discovered. We also know what are the inputs it is expecting and what is the output modes which it can respond to. So if we are okay with all these things, the next step will come, and where the agents actually start talking to each other. How do they start talking to each other? What happens when they start talking to each other? We will see in the next video. Now we know where is the agent. So because we discovered the agent, and we know where the agent is. Okay. So now after we understand where is the agent, okay, now you know what is the transport, what is the capabilities, how it is going to respond to all the things which are required to establish a commission. Okay. Now, after we establish the communication, now we are supposed to send a message. Okay. Now, the client agent will send a message to the specialist agent or a serving agent. Okay. So now, when a client agent sends a message to the serving agent may reply with another message. When you say hello, it may say hello back. Hi, hello. You say hi, it may say hello. And because both are intelligent and both are based off LLM, they will talk on the natural language, and you will go ahead and give whatever prompts. But at some point of a time, your specialist agent may need to do a long term task. No, not just replying as a chat, not just replying to your questions, but it thinks that okay, I need to do a task because you have used specific scenario and you want to do things, you have already given the input. Now I want to do a task. Now what the specialist agent or the serving agent will do is it will return you with a task. Okay. Now a task is anything but a work. Okay, that is processed on the behalf of the client is called a task. Okay. So now it can be a small goal, fetch this file, open this browser, or do something very, very small things. It can be atomic, or it can be a complete business process altogether. So now it starts the task. Now, task can be short, within a millisecond or few seconds, or a task can be long as well, which involves a long process. Let us suppose you are processing a loan application or a home loan application. There are huge number of things. So you go ahead and put out what is the task. The task now can reply with the answer, or it can get into a state of a pending. Pending state, basically, it's a completed, cancelled, reject, or failed are called end states. And if it is waiting for a human in the loop, okay, I am waiting for some input or I am waiting for some authorization. Okay, I have heard this, I understood what you have told, and this is what I understood. Are you ready? So it could be a confirmation task. So these are the states which can come back to the calling agent or a client agent and says, okay, I am here. You want me to proceed? Or sometimes you may even want to retry. Something is not available. Just wait. Now you retry it. So basically, the client agent and the receiving agent or a server agent will reply in two modes. Either the answer is a task, or it is a message, or it is a task state that has that has come as a reply. So now the client agent can take his own decision and go ahead and do. If the task is completed, so the result can be generated. The result can be a receipt, result can be a booking, result can be anything. You may write your agent for anything. So, but agent will reply you with a task with a definite state. Now, sometimes you may start the task, but there is no definite answer at that point. It will send you back a task identified. So if you implement your agents in a agentic form in the A2A protocol, you are supposed to respect these messages and the task definitions so that the communication or the negotiation or the transfer is properly happening. Summarize this, let us observe this particular sequence diagram. Okay, so this explains what all the states, okay, what all the communications that goes from one place to another. So basically, it starts with A to A client. Okay, basically A to A client agent, and then you go ahead and hit the A2A server agent or a specialist agent, and then first service discovery phase happens. So basically, you are looking at well-known directory of it, getting the agent.json, and then the agent card is come. After the agent card is come, agent card you do go ahead and negotiate the agent card, basically parse the agent cards and understand with your capabilities, do a match and say, okay, I am good. Okay, now I go ahead and say, I want to go ahead and start with the chat. So now when you start the chat and then you start posting the message and you can say, "Oh, what is my role and all." And then when you say that your agent accepts or the server agent accepts the task, and it may go ahead and do the other processing with other agents as well. So basically, the complication here is to define agents into multiple small business tasks independent, and each of these tasks can be reused and recalled and can be modularized. So basically, if you see, I will go ahead and put a step called agentic microservices. So if you know the microservices paradigm, where various business processes, where independent or idempotent processes are put it into a single microservice. So this is a agentic version of a microservice. You go ahead, you discover them, you talk to each other and get the things done. And then when the response returns, okay, after the specific agent is called, then it is the processing is done. Now, if the response includes a simple message, that's fine. If the response includes a message along with the ticket, along with a artifact, along with a video, along with a generated video, generated generated image, generated PDF, whatsoever, the server agent will communicate it back with the client agent. Now, the transparency, if you are seeing at the observability, the agent may or may not be observable. But if your agent is not observable, it should be responsible enough to tell you the task and the ID state of each task that it has accepted. So when you are having a consistent output at the task state and each of these agents are there, then your businesses are transacting or your business transaction happens smoothly across the multiple agents. So like that, you have started getting a proper A to A communication multi-agentic platform for your enterprise needs. So This is how it starts. Now we will see a different view of the same transaction to understand the technical implementations. We'll observe what happens in a typical communication. Okay, so we will leave the business part aside. What happens on the comms, on the wire? Okay, so whenever in the client environment, which is your client agent environment, whenever you start, after the client has startup, basically A2A agent resolver will look for the agent cards. So basically, it will see what is the proper agent with the skill sets I need. So once the agent is found and agent is finalized, then the A2A client will initiate the discussion. Now, when the discussion initiates after the negotiation is done, okay, the communication actually happens on a network communications. So after the network communication has started, then the JSON data transfer will happen. Now after that, network will go into the network environment, server environment. Within the server environment, there can be a web server, there can be any tool, the MCP, you may find any kind of a tool that your server agent will use or a specialist agent will use to do the business task. Now, it may involve in putting it in a queue, it may involve in putting it in a executor, it may involve a airflow, it may involve a RPA engine, it may involve a N8 IO. So whatever it does what it does, and then it will communicate back these states back to you. So after the complete uh, transaction is over, the entire loop closes. So if you are understanding this, these agents are basically communicating your very well known TCP IP and the HTTP infrastructure. So from coming from the network side, you don't need new hardwares, new softwares. Your network stack remains the same, but the way you deliver your business is completely transformed into agentic mechanism. So let's, see the entire process in a bird's eye back. Okay. So there is a collaboration. So what you do in a typical agentic A2A transaction, the server client will be discovered by the user agent, and then the client agent will do a negotiation and understand each other and then start a notification or start a message. Now, a message can trigger a task also. Once the task is started, there can be several push notification back to the calling agent or a client agent from the server agent. Now, after all the notifications are done, all the intermediate steps are done, some point the task is completed. After the task is completed, the server agent will archive the task, keep the repository agents back or the artifacts of the task up to its holding policy or its retention policy, and send back along with the message and also the parts of the generated things. It can be generated, it can be created, it can be all retrieved. Okay, so there is no mandatory step that the server agent should only return the generated artifacts. This is a bigger misnomer I have heard with many people, that the server agent will only generate the things. No, it can even retrieve a existing document from a document store. Okay, it can be so simple process. Okay, so if this is the agentic philosophy, wherein which you retrieve the message. No, if the client agent loses that artifact and re-requests, based on your retention policy, you should be able to give you back the original retrieval also. So once you see, this is the complete step between two agents. So in this video, we understood the transaction between only two agents. This can be propagated to multiple agents. Okay. So when you are having multiple agents there, exactly the similar transaction happens in a chain of command. So it can be one, it can be two, it can be three, it can be four, it can be n depth also. So now you may ask me one question. What happens? Let us suppose a client agent is asking a server agent. Server agent has asked agent A. Agent A has responded something. Will I be transparently be able to see? that depends on how your server agent decides whether it wants to keep the state transitions completely transparent to the client, or the state transactions are abstracted out to a level where where it only makes for the client to understand on a need to know basis. That is what it will give you. Okay. So agents collaboration is the fourth skill of an agent, where a agent should be able to talk to multiple agents with a different skill set and different state. Okay. So that is what a agent collaboration process is. Now that we understand what is an A2A protocol and how these agents talk to each other, let us see a sample agentic application. Okay, in an enterprise setup. So, in an enterprise setup, we will also take an example of a typical logistic setup. Okay, so let us suppose there is a logistic provider which is going to move parcels from one place to another. And we will see how a agentic application can be used. Okay, so now let's suppose this agent is an intake agent. So basically, this is an agent that will take the all incoming parcels. Okay, maybe a big e-commerce site is giving you all the incoming parcels. Now, what it says is it scans the shipment and it decides what is the destination. Now, there can be destinations that could be transferred by within your local logistics or your own subsidiary company. So what it will do is it will go ahead and contact, okay, this parcel or this courier should go through air. So now you go ahead and say air cargo agent. You go ahead and talk to air cargo agent and this is so and so so and so. Can you take care of it? So you go ahead and assign to the air cargo agent. Now there is a second agent that handles rail cargo. There is a agent that handles the documents. There is a agent that handles the high value items. There can be a agent that handles the COD items like that. So basically, your intake agent has taken, and based on the shipment, you go ahead and talk to transact to various agents with various skill sets to do their work. Now, for example, there is a place where you don't have a service. Okay, you have to interact with a third party or a accepted partner or a business partner to go ahead and hand over this package to that particular agent. Those are called again black box agents. So now the protocol can also be on a A2A protocol. So you go ahead and do that, but you may say you even you are hitting the black box agents. Okay, there can be multiple vendors, multiple types of vendors who will provide the same service to you. So there you can negotiate and you can talk. Now the negotiation can be with the parameters with a uh, price also into the matter, but the A2A protocol does not define it. It is left to the business parameter to define and bid on the price and various business parameters which are there. So that is what it is. And one more misnomer is that what about MCP server? Is it competing with the A2A protocol? We will talk about MCP, MCP gateway, and MCP servers in another video, another day. But for now, it is like this. MCPs always complement the A2A agents. So don't think these are parallel technologies. These are complementary technologies which will help each other to achieve better agentic AI. So that is how you plan a agentic application. Sometimes, if you are a very large enterprise, okay, and you have kind of a agent marketplace, okay, if you are defining A2A agents, it becomes very easy to navigate through your enterprise structure to figure out and identify and transact with various agents. So next time you build a enterprise applications or you envisage a enterprise platform to hold your agents or a agentic platform, consider A2A protocol or agents built on A2A so that you can talk, you can interact, and you can get business outcomes far better. Next time you are designing a agent, okay, don't limit yourselves to a LangChain agent. Ensure your agent has the capabilities to advertise themselves, to be discovered, to negotiate, to specify outputs. So that's all, guys. That's all, guys. When it comes to A2A protocol, we will very soon put this video also in Telugu. We will talk all these things even for the Telugu audience, and then it will be a repeat of the same video on there. So we are going to come up also with the GPT review next video. So stay tuned. Follow Medho Yantra. As you guys know, you have to follow us on the @Medho Yantra YouTube channel. And we have an Instagram. We haven't posted anything there. We have X also, but we haven't posted anything there. Eventually, I hope we will also post there on these channels as well. So for now, it's YouTube only, English only, and we are soon starting to put our videos even in Telugu as the time permits. This is done exclusively keeping students in the mind so that they will have an overview of what agentic world or AI world is going through without a big effort. As usual, guys, thank you. Thank you for very much for supporting us. Please do comment your comments on the video. And if you have very specific questions, put you put out them in the comment section. Sometimes I am sure I will reply to them. Either reply to them in the comment section, or we will go ahead and make a video if you ask a good questions. Thank you. Keep questioning, and please let us know if you want any specific concepts to be explained in this channel. We are open for ideas.